Hi everyone, it's Miss Mayorga here with another video. This time we are going to go into lesson 12, sprite movement. So in lesson 11, we finally learned how to move our sprites a little bit, either up, down, shaking up and down, left, right, rotating a little bit. And in this lesson, we're going to continue learning how to move our sprites much more smoothly across the screen. Okay? So essential question for this lesson is, how can we control the sprite movement in GameLab? And our objectives for this lesson are: use the counter pattern to increment or decrement. Increment just means increase, decrement, decrease. Sprite properties. Identify which sprite properties need to be changed and in what way to achieve a specific movement. Right? So thinking about sprite properties, we have X, Y, scale, and rotation. Right? So for this lesson, we're going to complete bubbles 1 through 9. In bubble 8, I'm going to have you choose one activity. For those of you in my class, I'll have you choose one activity. And in bubble 9, that's the one I'm going to be grading. All right, so let's go ahead and check it out. Bubble 10 is an optional challenge. You don't have to do this one. So again, here are the instructions for this activity. But go ahead and open up lesson 12 and let's get started. Bubble 1, bubble 2, how's everyone doing today? I got vaccinated today. My first dose. I just came back from it a little while ago. Anywho, random info. Let's go ahead and check this activity out. The counter pattern. This is going to be a new, a new block, a new thing that we're learning. This pattern is one of the most important ones in all of programming. You're going to be using this a lot for your games and your animations. It is used to increase the value of a variable by 1. So if we take a look, this is saying x gets x plus 1. You might call it the counter pattern since it can be used to make a variable that counts up. You'll use the pattern a lot, especially with the draw loop. Let's see what that looks like. Do this. The program creates a variable counter and then uses the counter pattern to make it count up. When you run the program, what do you think you'll see on the screen? Read the program and make a prediction of what the output will be. Run the program, check your prediction, discuss with your neighbor, with the class, with me, with yourself. Can you explain what you observed? Let's take a look at the code. We have our variable counter, which gets the value of 0. And in our draw loop, we have a white background, text size for counter, text counter, so it's referring to the variable, not the word counter, and then positioned at 0, 400, which is going to be down in this lower left-hand corner. And what is happening? The value of counter, 0, is being assigned a new value, which is the counter plus 1. So if it's 0, it'll be 0 plus 1, so it becomes 1. Then 1 gets 1 plus 1, which becomes 2. And then that repeats over and over and over. And there's something else that's going to happen. Let's see what actually happens. All right, as you can see, our number is increasing by 1. It's counting by 1 super fast, but it's also increasing by size. All right, here, text size. The text size was assigned whatever value that counter is at that point, that's going to be the text size. So if counter is 20 at that point, the text size will be 20. If it's 100, the text size will be 100. So as the value for this variable increases, as it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so is the size. The size is changing with it. And that's why we get this. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. If not, no worries. We will keep practicing and understanding this a little bit better as we move through the lesson. Go ahead and click finish. Moving on to bubble 3 or level 3. I realize I call these bubbles because they look like bubbles, but they're actually called levels, but I call them bubbles. So I'm going to keep calling them bubbles. Bubble 3. I guess this one's more of a diamond, but anyhow, this is a video. So go ahead and pause my video, go to Code Studio, watch the video in bubble 3, and then come back to this video. Okay, let's go ahead and continue on to bubble 4. Sorry if you hear noise on my My bracelet is hitting on the table as I type and move around. So hopefully that's not too annoying. Bubble 4, sprite movement. Using the counter pattern, you can write programs that animate sprites smoothly. Adding to or removing from a sprite's X or Y property in the draw loop makes your sprite move just a bit each time it is redrawn. Do this. Read the code that makes the jet go up the screen. Add the code that makes the plane move to the right, as in the sample image. So here we have this jet that's moving up the screen. Let's check out the code that's making that sprite move up the screen. Here we go. In line 8 and 9, move the jet up. They're using jet.y, so y property, gets jet.y minus 3. Why are they subtracting? Why are they subtracting? Think about that. Why are we using minus 3? Hopefully you thought about the coordinate system. So remember that in Game Lab, the coordinate system is a little bit flipped than what you're used to seeing in math class. The coordinate system, as you go downwards, your y coordinate gets bigger and bigger. Notice the coordinates down here. So as I go down, my y coordinate is increasing. So if I want to go up, we would have to decrease our y coordinate, which is accomplished by subtracting. And that's why we subtract here. And that's going to make it go up. Now our task is to add code that makes the plane move to the right. So as I move to the right, which coordinate is changing? I'm trying to stay as stable as I can. As I move to the right, which coordinate is changing? Hopefully you're noticing that the x coordinate is changing. As we move to the right, our x coordinate changes. Is it increasing or decreasing? It's increasing, meaning we need to add, right? So we're going to pretty much do this similar structure that they have here, but instead of .y, we're looking at the x property, and instead of subtraction, we're going to do addition. So let's go ahead and grab that sprite.x block, add it right here. We want to move the plane, so we need to make sure that we change this label, this name, to plane, right? We want to change the plane variable or the plane sprite. X position, math, and we're adding. So basically this is saying the new X position is the old X position plus whatever number we want to give it. So plane.x equals, and we do the same thing again, plane.x plus some number. Let's try 3. Go ahead and run your program. And now our sprite, our helicopter or plane is moving to the right. You can use a different number. Notice what happens if I move this up to 8 plus 8. It's moving a lot faster, right? So the more you're adding, the faster it's going to move across the screen. Ooh, really fast, right? Maybe you might want to do 1 or 2 and avoid a collision. But hopefully it's starting to make sense how this is working and how our sprites are moving across the screen, right? Let's go ahead and continue on to bubble 5. Moving to the left, if adding to a sprite's x coordinate makes it move to the right, across the screen from left to right to the right, how could you make it move to the left? Do this. Make your program animate like the image to the right. Update fly.x inside the draw loop so that in each frame the fly is drawn a little further to the left. Tip, you can make your sprites move faster by adding or subtracting larger numbers, right? That's what I had mentioned in the previous bubble. The fly in our example moves about twice as fast as the plane in the last level. That's not super important. You can make your fly move however fast you want it to move. As long as it's moving to the left, then you're good. Let's take a look at our code. we need to move the fly a little bit to the left. So which property, and they already tell you which property are we working with? The X property. All right, so we need to find that sprite.x, that has to do with left and right. All right, so sprite.x, drop it right in there. And we need to rename this to fly.x, right, fly. And since we want to move to the left, right, take a look at the coordinates right here that show up. As I move to the left, what's happening to the X coordinate? As I move to the left, what's happening? Ignore the Y because I can't keep my hand straight. But what is happening to the X coordinate as I move across the screen to the left? It's decreasing. Yeah, so we need to subtract. Subtract. So fly.x again, minus, right, so it's saying that the new position gets the old position minus something. All right, so let's try -3. That seems to work. If you want to make your fly go faster, go for it. If you want to make it go slower, that's fine too. All right, but here is the code that we added. And we found the blocks right here, sprite.x and minus. All right, moving on to bubble 6. I need to keep track of time so I don't get cut off. The diagonal movement. All right, updating both the X or Y properties of a sprite can make it move diagonally. You can use the watchers under the code area to see how each property is changing. Do this. Read the code that makes the mouse go down. Run the program and look at the watchers to see what is happening to the mouse.x and mouse.y properties. All right, so let's see. Here is our program. We have a mouse, and it looks like mouse.y equals mouse.y plus 2. Remember, the y property has to do with up, down. And since we're adding, we're increasing our y coordinates, so our mouse is going to be moving downwards. There we go. It also told us, oh, my face is in the way. So we're supposed, as the mouse moves down the screen, we should watch the watchers. I'm going to move my face. There, okay. So down in this area, let's see what happens. So as you can see, X stays the same because nothing is happening to the X, but the Y is increasing by 2 each time. A little bit fast, so it's hard to follow it, but that's what we told the computer to do. And so that's what we're seeing happening down here in the watchers. It's asking you to add one more line of code that makes the mouse move diagonally. Run your code again and look at the watchers. Okay, this one, can you think about how to make our mouse move diagonally? It's a little tricky. So if I'm moving diagonally, take a look at the screen where the coordinates are appearing. If I move down, only the y coordinate is changing. If I move left, only the x coordinate is changing. If I move to the right, only the x coordinate is changing. But if I move diagonally, what do you notice? Both coordinates are changing. So we actually need to change x and y in order to move our mouse diagonally. So we need to add a sprite.x block. So let's go ahead and move my face back. I'll move it all the way in a second if I need to. But let's add a sprite.x. Go ahead and grab the sprite.x. Drop it right below mouse.y. Change this to mouse.y. And I'm going to run out of time. All right, we need the plus symbol because we want to go to the right. Mouse.x plus 2. All right, I'm going to get cut off, so I'm going to pause here and I will pick up on video number 2 for the rest of this.